Jaime, it's such a pleasure to have you with us in Bucharest again.
It's such a pleasure to be back, Mihai.
Oh, fantastic. So, we have a series of questions that we will both answer
Okay.
in this session. The first and probably the most important is in regards to your leadership style. How would you describe that?
I have a very sophisticated leadership style. I speak a lot, very loudly, and then I try to shut up and actually listen. Very often not successful on the listening part. But yeah, that's answering seriously. I lead the same way that I live, which is with my heart. I love working with the people here. It's not just you. It's Tudor, it's Kata, it's Dragos over there who's watching us. It's Christy there. It's everybody, and I just love to be surrounded with people that know how to work and have fun and love people and that are, I don't know, loyal and people that I can count on.
I can relate to the humanistic aspect of what you said. I'm in this business because I love people, and our work is all about talent, finding extraordinary people and assembling teams. And that really motivates me and carries me every day. I try to the best of my ability to be a servant leader, meaning to honestly help the teams that I'm responsible for, to imbue them with a sense of vision and courage to tackle difficult, challenging aspects of game development. And I try to be humble and open. Another theme that I can relate to is the concept of listening, which I am also not very good at, but the topic of permanent improvement, I guess, for myself. But once again, humanism and kind of dedication to a vision and inspiring talented people to achieve their greatest.
I can relate to a lot of that, especially the humble bit, because you work in a lot of different things, and you're 30 and you think you know it all, and then you work in, can I swear, fucking games, and then you realize that humble,
yes,
humble is what you're gonna be, because you never know. You try your best to create something that will last, and you really don't know whether that's going to happen or not. So with age, and I'm older than most of you guys, I've learned that it's about the journey.
Absolutely.
It's about that process of making the game, and then the game will be what it is.
Yes. And continuing this topic of leadership and kind of looking back at your legacy, what is one thing that you built here at Amber that you think will outlast you?
I have one hope and one certainty on that. The hope is that we will build games that will outlast not just me, but also you and all the rest of us. What I'm certain that will outlast me is the friendships that I made, fundamentally because I'm 15 years older than you, so I'm gonna be dead, and you will still be around and still love me. And so will Dragos, and so will Christy, and so will all the people in that room over there. And I know that for a fact, so that is my certainty.
Your empathetic leadership will certainly leave a very deep imprint on all of us.
Thank you.
And the friendship aspect is one of the things that I love the most about the Amber Leadership Group, is that we are all friends. We all watch each other's backs. We all support each other, sometimes selflessly. And I think that's very rare to encounter in a business environment. Having been exposed to many other illustrious companies in my past.
Yes, which will remain unnamed, of course.
Of course. One thing for me personally that I hope will outlast all of us, and Amber, including Amber, is the idea of a company with a social mission that caters to an entire ecosystem. So, we always saw Amber as the center of a larger community formed of educational institutions and incubators and venture facilities that are trying to evolve the game development environment in any market where we have a presence. So I think that is somewhat of a novel concept in the game space. This idea of a strong social mission put in the service of game developers that transpires beyond the confines of the company itself.
And this is why I love you. You know, that idea when we first talked, and you know, you said, I want to do this ecosystem, and I said, okay, let's make games where games have not been made before, you know, and elevate. It was just so inspiring and also so daunting, like, oh, this is impossible, but there's this guy that actually thinks can be done. Let's see if I can help a little bit.
And it's been
this is true.
Thank you. There's been quite a journey for us, right? I mean,
oh God, yes.
From starting in Bucharest, Romania, to extending across different locations in our country, in Craiova and Botoșani, but also, you know, across Eastern Europe and South America and North America. And, you know, today we have 10 different locations around the world, out of which quite a few are emerging markets like Mexico, Colombia, Ukraine. And we really are trying to build this ecosystem in each of these locations, sometimes more successfully than others,
yes.
But certainly the intent and the long-term strategic vision has been unchanged.
I think is less about success and more about, are we going to have time, right? And I think we will have time, because even in those places where we don't see the speed, like we saw the speed of education going like 200 miles per hour in Mexico, but now we're tackling Romania. You know, that's a pretty big deal. And let's not forget about Asia. I think the impact that we're going to have there, you know, fast forward 10 years, I think we're going to create a community of game development people in the Philippines that is going to be absolutely fantastic. And our legacy will also be the games that they make, not the ones that you and I make.
True. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we hope that Amber will endure for generations. So, you know, we somehow have seeded this industry with a really powerful force for change and evolution.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, if you had to pitch Amber to an external partner in one sentence, how would you describe us?
Come and have fun with your friends, which is what you told me. You said, come and work in Amber. I said, why would I do that? You know, I work in the most successful company in the space, right? By far. I said, Jaime, come and work with your friends. And that is true. And it's not just the friends that you know existed before, it's also the friends that you make, you know. Some of the people that I respect the most and that I really can count on when things get tough, and things get tough often, are the people that I met on Amber.
True that. Yeah. And that sales pitch of come have fun with your friends is pretty hard to say no to, right?
Yes, it's very, very hard to say no to.
On my side, you know, when I'm asked to pitch Amber, I always go back to fundamental concepts. And that means like really leaning into our ideology as a company. I always think of our mission, and I love to explain what it means that we are a collective of artisans delivering positive impact by evolving the science and art of play. I love explaining this. It's not immediately apparent what it means, right? So you have to sort of break it down. First of all, we're a collective of artisans. The concept of teamwork is our primary value as a company. We're delivering social impact. I can explain the concept of ecosystem and catering to a broader community. And ultimately, the next thing is evolving the science art of play leans into the innovation aspect of our jobs. It's how we constantly have to reinvent ourselves to stay relevant to partners. It's how we constantly have to search differentiators for us to be able to stand out in a very crowded field of competitors, and ultimately to seek novel experience and deliver something that is valuable to the industry and to the players as a whole.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so on to more fun stuff.
I mean, that was fun already.
What's one game that you would never start playing?
Never stop playing, I think. I have to say Civilization 5. I mean, you knew this, right? Any civilization, of course, but, you know, turn-based strategy is a passion of mine since I was like 15, and I have a history as a player in particularly Civilization 5, and that, I can never stop that. In fact, I can not stop playing it at the macro level, and I cannot stop playing it at the micro level.
Maybe you should explain this a bit.
Well, suddenly it's light outside. Right? Suddenly it's 5 a.m. in the morning. You think, oh shit, I've done it again. No. What about you?
Well, it is absolutely the same answer, and I was certain that you would say civilization, and that is also my first and only love. I would probably go with Alpha Centauri, which is like adjacent to the Civilization series, but really beautiful, amazing game. Brian Reynolds did such an amazing job there by, containing all of the tropes of science fiction within this civilization offshoot that is really focused on the future, right?
Actually, I felt Alpha Centauri is not just tropes, there is innovation there also. There are things that have become classics in science fiction, partly thanks to, to Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, Civilization 5 is my favorite, it's just the game mechanics just drive me nuts. You know how much I love my spreadsheets and shit, and that's the way that I play that.
I'm looking forward to Civilization 7 coming very soon.
Like February, yes.
Yeah.
I've got it in order.
I guess you need to take vacation
or something like that, yes.
Otherwise, you'll be missing in action for a couple of weeks.
Well, yes, maybe I'll pretend that I'm sick or something,
So, again, leading with the fun stuff. What's one food that you could not live without?
Well, I'm Spanish, right? There is so much to choose from. I guess that what would break my heart if I couldn't try it ever again would be paella. I tell you, and it's probably a very Spanish thing. It's not that, people usually like paella, but, a really well done paella is something that is truly extraordinary. And for me, I guess it's the same. I'm such a boring guy when you interview me because it all goes back to people, right? I remember, eating the paella on Sundays, which is the only day of the week where you actually have time to do that, right? Your mom, the whole family kind of participates on it, and it's just this concept of eating from a central plate and everybody's sharing and having fun and drinking a lot of wine once we were a little bit older. Although in my case, it was like
even
13,
younger.
Yeah. Back then, Spain was different. And I think paella would be my answer, yeah. What about you?
One clarifying question.
Okay.
The best paella you ever ate was made by your mother?
No. And this is not going to be widely distributed, right?
Because mother cannot hear this.
Okay, my mom is the greatest cook in the world. Let's be very clear about this. And she's amazing. But in Valencia, there are a couple of places that build a paella that is impossible to replicate in Madrid, which is where I'm from, because Madrid height is like 600 meters, while they have water, especially water, and also the seaside level of altitude that allows them to do a paella in a certain way that is very difficult to replicate.
Interesting. I would love to taste
I'll
that
take
paella.
you. I'll take you. I'll absolutely take you.
So, I'm Romanian, if you haven't noticed. For me, some combination of potatoes, it's always welcome. My wife used to joke that if I have potatoes in a meal, I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
But going a little bit more complex and trying to combine different elements. I would say that life without chorba would be a very difficult prospect for me.
Okay.
I don't get it all the time because it's difficult to replicate in the US. We don't have all the easily available core ingredients. But when I come to Romania, usually my very first meal is a bowl full of chorba, and then usually I get another one. So, and there's potatoes in that. Just in case you're wondering.
I was wondering about that, yeah.
I'm also curious to know, when you're in a work setting, what are some of the verbal tics that you can engage in? What are things that you tend to say very often?
Probably my most repeated phrase is Mihai. Wait a second, hear me out.
Yes, the hear me out sounds familiar.
Probably.
I'm not the only recipient of the hear me out.
And then I launched and I said, I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and I don't, basically.
Yeah.
Until people start to kind of, with the body language and whatever, say, just fucking shut up, Jaime.
Actually, that's not true. We always love to hear the full story
Oh,
from you.
you're so
Yes,
nice, yeah.
That's why all our meetings are going over schedule by
No, it's not just
outrageous
me, man.
margin. Outrageous margin.
It's not just me.
You are one of the main culprits.
Yeah.
Myself being a contributor to that. I'm actually at odds on how to respond to this question, but I think like I hear myself saying a lot, it is what it is. And it's, for me, a way to kind of just accept the imperfect nature of reality with all of its complexities and the contradictions. It is what it is.
When you say that, it's so funny because I have never met anybody that was less willing to surrender to the imperfections of reality. Like, you absolutely want to save the best possible world for all of us. And I've seen you make that step forward and say, okay, it is what it is. Yeah, let's deal with what it is now, and then we'll make it better, right? But
Thank you.
But yeah, I have heard that from you very, very often.
Yeah, I think I speak to myself also. You know,
Yes.
like I need to like try to not change everything all the time. But yeah, that's a good one for sure. Jaime, thank you very much. This was fun.
Hey,
Hey.
brother. And thank you very much, everybody.